first is inequality. Now, Piketty wrote his famous book without mentioning digital or the internet. So it's not just the internet that's driving inequality, but the obvious inequality between the multi-billionaires of Silicon Valley and the rest of us, the inequality in terms of influence and power, but more importantly, I think the kind of architecture that the digital economy is creating. The architecture of a new, what we call a precariat, not the proletariat. You know, the part-time drivers of Uber and the people renting out their spare rooms on their Airbnb. What concerns me, I think, is that the digital revolution is creating an architecture which doesn't create equality or democracy, but actually compounds inequality between a tiny group of people who have all the power, who hold all the cards, and everyone else. That's the first area. Second area is jobs. I was just talking to someone earlier. We're on the cusp of, and it seems a bit surreal because always the news in the paper is about record levels of employment. But with the AI revolution, which is about to really, truly transform everything, once again, even more profoundly probably than the internet ever did. The internet, by the way, even though I used it for the title of my 2015 book, is a rather archaic word, I think. Well, these companies, Google, Facebook, Apple, Amazon, they're all AI companies. They're not internet companies. And AI will undermine much of many traditional jobs and much of how we define our labor and ourselves. So I think the jobless crisis on the horizon is profound. I think the breakdown, and this is something you and I have talked endlessly about, the breakdown of civility, the sort of misanthropic nature of the dominant media, the fact that the gatekeepers have been taken out of the equation, so it's naturally corrupt, an opportunity for Putin and his trolls to come in and destroy all our values. The hatred of women, of minorities, the lack of any kind of coherent discussion. We were promised that these platforms would bring us together. If anything, they've driven us apart, and it's, I think, sort of compounded the individualism, the isolation, the atomization. Now look, this isn't the first time this has ever happened. Durkheim wrote about this at the beginning of the 20th century, before anyone had even thought up the idea of digital. So this is not a new idea, but that is a huge problem. And finally, the business model. The business model of Facebook and Google, which is surveillance capitalism, where we use these platforms for free, but we are mined as human beings, and our essence, our individualism, our privacy is compromised. We know its impact on democracy, but it's profound also in terms of who we are as human beings, because I think if we don't have privacy, if we're not able to protect ourselves from the world, if everyone knows where we are and what we're thinking, sometimes even before we know what we're thinking ourselves, then there is a profound crisis. So the business model, not of all companies, I was talking earlier, I know one of your clients is Apple. I think what Tim Cook is doing in reminding people of the importance of paying for stuff is really important. So this is not necessarily a problem endemic to all tech companies, but certainly the free model has been a profound failure. So inequality, unemployment, the disappearance of civility, and the crisis of privacy. Those are the four big buckets. And with civility, you also get tech addiction, and that's a big issue too. Easy issues to fix, right?
And this is coming from an optimist, right?
I look up to
No, but I love that about you. So as I listen to you, these challenges are profound. They come across as almost insurmountable, and they're only surmountable if you have hope in humankind, which you do. You call yourself an optimist. And what I love about where you're taking this is, let's say for the moment that we agree that by and large the problems are in the four spheres that you have. For humanity to solve them, we need to be at our best.